for joining. I am so excited about talking to you guys today on this topic. Um, I've been recently just doing different type of training and helping people in a different light, and it made me think, how many of us out there are actually ready to take action? We start on this path of buying a firearm, or maybe even not buying a firearm right away, but maybe just learning how to use a firearm. And the real question is, are we really ready to act? So it's not about unaliving anyone. That's not what I'm here for today. It's really just more so about, are you mentally and physically prepared to take action if you needed to defend yourself? And I don't mean that you need to use a firearm always. I do mean taking action to defend yourself. So whether that means no action, or whether that means take a small step, or whether that means to hide away or get away, any type of actions of that sort, or a no reaction, actually would actually go a long way to defend yourself and protect you. So the question I pose for you guys is, are you really ready to act in some sort of attack situation? I just really want to put you guys in that mental space of awareness about yourself. Is this something you can see yourself doing, And again, not necessarily just about firearms all the time. So welcome to the show. This is Shoot the Shish, if you don't already know. I am Mrs. Trouble, and I'm really happy to talk to you guys about this topic because I know I have so many students out there, as I am a licensed firearm instructor. I have so many students that take our training and then I don't see them for another couple of years. And then they're like, hey, I'm ready to renew my permit. And I've not even touched my gun since the last time I went to the range with you. And I'm like, come on, people. You got to be a little bit more responsible with, once you decide to be a firearm owner, making those steps and being knowledgeable and familiar with how to even use it in case of an emergency. So I'd like to break down a couple of things for you guys today. So the first thought, the main thought is really, are you really ready to defend yourself? And if you're not, that's something you need to figure out. How do you become ready? Hi, Bob. Sure, I can shout you out. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you checking out the channel. So, what I'd like to talk to you guys about really is just making sure that you're ready. So it's more than just owning a firearm and knowing self-defense, It's one of those things you really have to be really equipped to it. Thanks so much. I appreciate it that you like my hair, and welcome Saravana as well. I hope I said your name right. But it really is all about that mental awareness and readiness that you really have to be prepared for, because at the end of the day, again, I can't stress enough how much I'm not speaking of just using a firearm against someone. You may need to use a chair. You may need to use a pen, anything to defend yourself. And it's one of those things where it takes a quick couple of seconds for you to make that decision, And you have to already be in the mindset of, I am here to stop the threat, not to unalive someone. So that's our first thought process. It's one of those things we have to keep in mind. Hey, how are you today? How are you doing? It's a beautiful day. If you guys are in the DMV area, it is a beautiful day outside. It's really unseasonably warm for us, but I'm loving it. No complaints here. It's one of those days I'm just like, thank you. It's very sunny. It's beautiful. I should have been outside talking to you guys today. That's what I should have been doing. So when it comes to situational awareness, though, recognizing the threat before they even escalate. So that's one of the things. Are you aware when you're coming to and from? Lots of us have a routine where we get up in the morning, we're getting ready, get our kids ready if you have children. Then you leave out for your day. You send your kids off to school, you take them to school, maybe you head off to work, and then you come home in the evening. Maybe you're stopping at a store first and then going to the house. And we get into a normal routine. And when we get into a normal routine, sometimes our defense is a little bit lax. But I want to remind you to be mindful that when you do have a normal routine like that, you open yourself up to someone studying you. And that is something that could be a little bit dangerous if you're not paying attention, because then you have an attacker come who knows your routine. You know, whether or not they mean to rob you or whether they mean to hurt you, they may know your routine. So it is good sometimes if you can drive a different direction, or maybe leave out the house a little earlier or a little later sometimes, just so you can have that flexibility of someone not studying your routine, you know? And the thing is, it's about being mindful of what things might be out of place. So if you do have that normal routine and you're normally used to seeing, you know, Bob might be your neighbor or Saravana might be your neighbor, and you see them in the morning, but you don't see them this morning, certain things like that might need to stand out for you, that, okay, something's a little different today. Okay, let me just be diligent and paying attention to the details, you know? And if you see someone coming up to you that looks a little bit, you know, suspicious, sometimes, you know, race is not a factor. Sometimes gender is not a factor. Sometimes that what they're wearing is not a factor. Of course, you know, we see different things out there that says, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe a guy that has on a hat and a hoodie is a threat. Maybe a black guy with a hoodie or a hood is a threat, you know, or maybe a white guy with a hoodie or a hat is a threat. But I'm here to tell you that women are also out there meaning to harm others as well. So those are things that we have to be aware of. Hey, Trey, thanks so much for joining and checking us out today. So when it comes to the emotional and physical side of things, you have to be mentally and emotionally ready for this. But how can you really be mentally and emotionally ready? That's a big, good question. So when it comes, Trey, women can't hurt men. That's okay. That's, you know, your thought process. I'm not going to throw you down on that. At the end of the day, you'll find that some women actually can, and everyone's capable of hurting everyone, is what I would say. So that's one of those things. And then there's also the setup. Many times, they have these different situations out there where they'll use women to set men up, to lure them into an unsafe situation. So those are things to consider. Hey, Roberta, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you guys checking us out. And Richard, thanks for checking in. So when it comes to that emotional and physical awareness side of things, you have to know this about yourself, whether you're a fight type of person, or would you freeze? You have to be very, you know, thoughtful on that ahead of time, because that kind of dictates what choice of self-defense you choose to use. Because if you're out there going to freeze in a situation, seconds count, and that can cost you your life. So it's one of those things you really have to know about yourself, and it's hard to assess that until you've lived life a little bit, you know? The older we get, the more we start to understand ourselves a little bit more. So you're going to have to do some deep diving on the inside for you to really figure that out. So let's see. Trey, you said women can't hurt. They just hit them with another man. I hear you on that. But, you know, there's plenty of other women out there that can definitely take down a man, no problem. And Clarissa Shields is one of them. Just saying, you know, just throwing out some names there. But there's plenty of women out there that can go toe to toe with the man. And it's, you know, she'll take him down. So, but then, Trey, you did say you are a flight B person. I hear you on that. Plan B for that situation. So it's one of those things that you have to really assess the situation to know what level of defense you'll need. Some situations does not cause for a firearm. Not every situation does. So you have to be real with yourself about whether or not, you know, the situation you're in causes for you to actually to possibly unalive this person or just hurt them enough that you can get away. Those type of things, you have to make those quick assessments. So I'm here to remind you today that you do have to be in that mental space. But the first thing you have to do is actually assess the threat. And you have to make a decision on what is a logical response to that threat, because there is a legal situation that's going to happen after, and you're going to have to articulate your decision making. Okay. Now, of course, all of this going through your head so quickly, I know it's hard to believe, but yes, you will have to assess, then decide what's the right decision to make in that moment. Okay. And thanks so much for joining Big Dad 444. Really appreciate it. So when it comes to when it comes to the whole fight or flight or freeze, as I said before, the older you get, the more you'll really know this about yourself. But really thinking about how you would react to the situation. I mean, you can honestly say it's some kind of muscle memory that can build up things when you have like a medical emergency that happens. If someone slips and falls and there's blood everywhere, how do you normally react to that? Do you jump right into it and you react to the situation, or you freeze like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, and then you just stuck for a moment? That might be some indication about what type of person you really are when it comes down to it. So I'm here to remind you to try to breathe. Breathing actually scientifically is proof. If you take some breaths, you get some oxygen to the brain, and it helps you to actually make decisions better. And it's not me just saying that, it's actual scientific fact. You guys can look it up and see yourself. But it works. When to tell someone to actually breathe, it does actually work. They can actually think a little bit clearer and make some better decisions for themselves. So it allows you to assess that situation, make the appropriate response decision to that situation. And Global Glock 45, thanks again for joining. I really appreciate you being here as well. So when it comes to this whole thing here, and I appreciate you guys defending me. I love it. Thank you guys so much. We are all entitled to our own opinions. I'm going to say, we're not going to always agree on everything. And I'm okay with that. Hey, that's why I'm here. This is a community discussion and to welcome you guys' thoughts. As long as you're maintaining respect, I'm good to go with that. When it comes to that legal responsibility, you have to keep in mind that after this particular attack or situation, there will be some sort of legal process that takes place. So are you really equipped to deal with things on a legal standpoint? So if you don't have legal protection right now, I would strongly encourage you to do so. US Law Shield is a really good company that I partner with, and I refer all of my students to US Law Shield. I've done other videos on their coverage. If you guys want to take a look at the channel, you can see some more details about that. But US Law Shield is a really good company that helps you with self-defense, not just using a firearm. So when it comes to that whole legal thing, it's a matter of when something takes place. You will be most likely put in handcuffs, put in a police cruiser, taken to the police station, checked in, questioned, investigated. Your firearm will be confiscated for evidence, and they'll hold it for God knows how long. All these things are going to happen. So that's that mental preparedness that I want you guys to be aware of. You may feel that they're treating you like a criminal when all you were doing was in the right, which was defending yourself. But realistically, that's the normal protocol. And if they're not doing that, then you're one of the blessed lucky ones and a lucky few that's not going through all of that process. But when it comes to it, I want you guys to be aware that that is a normal process and to not be so shocked when that does take place. Comply. Please comply, okay? Don't make any situation worse than what it has to be concerning the law, for law enforcement, or anything like that. Please comply. So when it comes along with the territory of being a firearm owner, I can't stress enough how important it is for you guys to get some, practice. You have to constantly get practice. And that's the whole reason why I'm here for these check-ins on Wednesdays. Even though I was a little late today, I thank you guys for your patience. But I really want you guys to be aware that you have to get that practice, because if you don't get regular practice and familiarity with your firearm, you're going to freeze. You're going to stumble, and those seconds in which something like that takes place could cost you your life. So I'm here to remind you, constantly get knowledge about when and when not to use your firearm. So the laws surrounding self-defense. Constantly get practice, get skills on how to use your firearm if that's your choice. And then there's also less than lethal options. I mean, you may have recognized the police or security officer's belt where they have other options than just the firearm for defense. So it just goes to show that being a responsible person, not every situation may actually cause for a firearm. But are you really mentally prepared to take that act is the question you need to ask yourself. And if you're really not, then you need to take some steps in doing that, such as getting knowledge, checking out some of the other YouTube videos that I've posted. I have other tips out there to help you be prepared for your awareness and prepared for how you would react. So definitely check out some of the other videos we have out there with different discussions and other short videos and maybe long content videos to help you along your way in your journey. So it's please, 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 I can't stress enough. Get knowledge, get practice, and definitely stay equipped and just stay sharp mentally, you guys. You know? So as I'm leaving you guys for this little short, quick check-in that we did today, the question I want to leave you with is, do you really think that you're ready? You know, do you really believe that you are ready to protect yourself or your loved ones against an attacker? And if you're not, what steps do you need to take in order to get ready? So thank you guys so much for joining on this quick little check-in. I'm so glad to see you guys in the comment section interacting, and I appreciate you guys for joining again as always. I look forward to seeing you guys Friday for another great discussion. If you missed last Friday at 8 p.m., we'll be back this Friday at 8 p.m. with another great discussion. And if you did miss last week Friday discussion, was a really great one. My guest was awesome, and you guys will definitely learn a thing or two by watching that. So I do encourage you guys to go check that out. Look forward to seeing you guys again soon. And thanks again for joining. I'll stay around for just a second if you guys have any questions. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Just checking to make sure. Because, I mean, honestly, you guys, I'm here to service you. So if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. I'll do my best in the chat box area to answer those questions if you're leaving comments after this live as well. All right. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care. Enjoy the day.